Hello guys, today's about the box office here, and this week has been pretty bad for the box office. Here, Into the Heights isn't doing as well as people had thought it would do. I said it would probably open to 20 million, but again, this is a movie. It's not really an action movie. It's not really a movie that will draw. They really think that this type of movie will draw in people. Yes, it's one of those movies that will have legs. Again, it will. Yeah, movies like The Greatest Showman that open to like 8 million. It might pull off a Greatest Showman. I wouldn't be surprised if it does pull off a Greatest Showman. But Into the Heights, of course, Peter Rabbit lower than expected openings. So Peter Rabbit is. I'm not surprised people don't care for that movie. It is a British movie, but that movie will do well anyways worldwide. So, yeah. Peter Rabbit is Into the Heights goes 5 million and 4 million. Man, 40 days. But yeah, and again, In the Heights, I think though it will probably end up like 16. Okay, 5 million. So 7 million is tomorrow. So that's around 13 million. And probably the likely decline, or it might just decline, which I think that's what they're expecting it to. So yeah, 4 million, which is around 11 million, and then 2 million. Again, In the Heights is probably another woke movie, so it's not surprising no one wants to see it. And Peter Rabbit is actually opening similar to what Sony was expecting it to. Currently less than no one wink and no four wink. 4 million is not that. It will probably end up around 12 million. 12 million. It'll probably end up around 12 million. It'll probably end up around here. And apparently, yeah, Quiet Place Part 2 crossed 100 million yesterday after a third Friday of 3.75 million. On its way to 12.5 million and making it $189 million. Okay, and of course, Conjuring is gonna drop like the other Conjuring movies as well. In third place, probably get a for 45 million by tomorrow. Now, there's several reasons. Simply because Into the Heights is, you know, but In the Heights was, you know, mid-teens at 4,506, but they said over 20 million, which might have been the 20 million was added to the P&A, as well as which is of course marketing to celebrate diversity, because of course, this movie is but again, people are just sick of these types of people are sick of these woke movies. People are sick of them. I don't know if In the Heights is a woke movie or not, but. And also, this movie does have connections with Weinstein, which I think is another reason why people don't want to see it. Okay, people don't want to see the movie because it has connections with Weinstein, which is probably another thing. So there's social media puts to turn Black Panther to event for AZ and Crazy Rich Asian for Americans. They basically try to turn In the Heights for Rat the Next, and I think people are starting to see through this stuff. Like, oh my God, they're making this movie for Latin American audiences like Door, but it seems that this movie is just like Door. Nobody in America really cares about it. Nobody in America cares about. Sony always saw Peter Rabbit goes 8 to 9, 10 million, but rivals believe that it could go higher of 900K, provided hope the sequel could best expectations. But Peter Rabbit is actually doing to Sony's expectations. Which again, the first movie wasn't really well received, so it's not really surprising the movie isn't doing too well. So this is gonna be another pretty bad weekend. I think In the Heights will have crazy legs. I think that's gonna be the thing for that movie. Again, Crazy Rich Asians opened to like 28 million and 40. It opened to like 45 million, I think, and still ended up grossing nearly 200 million domestically. I think In the Heights could still grow 60 to 70 million. It is that type of movie that will do that. And of course, Spiel Untamed is a box office failure. And again, In the Heights will probably do well in Mexico and Brazil, and of course, those countries we're trying to advertise it for. But the audience that they're hoping would, make this movie, would sit this movie that they said this movie would reach Latinos. It seems that they don't want to see the movie. They don't want to see the movie. There. It still was 46% Caucasian. They'll probably piss off the 5 people on Twitter because this movie was supposed to be a big event for Latinos. I'm not gonna say, and only like 2 or 3% of Latinos use Latinx, and I wouldn't be surprised if the terms like Rotten X turned people away from the movie, and people don't want to see it, okay? Because Latinos are not the same as other groups of people that are coming here for immigration, okay? They are far more conservative than a lot of people think they are. They come from countries where they're very religious and conservative, and they think that they can push these socialist ideals. Which again, any movie that gets good reviews by critics is gonna probably be a woke movie. I think that's most likely what it is, because that's what the critics like nowadays. Again, Quiet Place got good reviews, but In the Heights might be another woke movie. I don't know how people review. I don't know how the audiences are treating the movie, but Peter Rabbit again. I was saying it might overperform, but Sony's it did basically the Sony what Sony expected it to. It's probably not gonna be a worldwide flop. Of basically, we all know that because it's doing well internationally, but Sony didn't really see Peter Rabbit as a big success. And it seems that people don't really care for the sequel, for an unnecessary sequel that nobody wanted in the first place. Okay, like did anyone really want a sequel to Peter Rabbit? I don't really think anyone did. And I think that's the reason why nobody cares about Peter Rabbit 2. Because no one wants to see a sequel to a movie that was not really well received to begin with. But we're going to see how people I actually gotta see how YouTube is viewing In the Heights. Okay. Because again, it's just people don't care about it. It's just another musical. Okay. Musicals are not, there are very, very, again, this is my opinion, there are very, very few good musicals out there. Oh, the Rabbits game is confirmed. I actually gotta talk about that later, like at 9 or 10. But, or even 11, if I can. Then that'll be the one I'll be talking about later. But, yeah. Yeah, Netflix is failing in Japan. Nobody gives a crap about Netflix. Netflix is dying anyways. Streaming is actually dying too. People are sick of streaming. Okay. But, In the Heights, I don't think anybody really cares about this movie. I think that's the thing. Nobody really gives a crap about this movie. Okay. Yeah, you have not many YouTubers are talking about it. Like, I'm looking at YouTube and there's 2 YouTubers I've seen so far. It's Phyllis Productions and Santiago's, who basically talk about every movie. Dan Murrow. But really, nobody cares about this movie. Really, nobody gives a crap, okay? Because people can see through this stuff, okay? It's the same thing with Cruella. The critics loved Cruella, but people are seeing through what the critics are saying. People are seeing through what the critics say. I'm going to go on IMDb, see what they say on IMDb on In the Heights. This movie might become an underrated classic, okay? Might become an underrated classic. You never know. It has a 7.9 out of 10. So, nobody knows why this movie is not doing too well. But again, this movie, I think, does anyone really give a crap about this movie? I think that's going to be the reason why. It's another musical. And I think people just don't want to see musicals at this moment. At all. Which, again, I think it's going to be the big downfall for this movie. I think this movie should have been released in December or around the Oscar season. So it will have gotten some Oscar buzz. I think that In the Heights is basically going to be released at the wrong time. I never really expected it to be a box office hit. The Insider said it would be, but I wasn't really thinking it would do really well. Okay, and next week I think is The Hitman's Vice Bodyguard, and then of course the big movies are finally coming out next month, and of course the week after that is Fast 9, which I think will do much better. We'll probably do 30 to 40 million. I actually had my initial predictions of In the Heights 10 to 20 million because I don't really have any expectations for this movie. Peter Rabbit is underperforming far below I said around 20 million for Peter Rabbit. But Peter Rabbit, again, we're gonna see how well it does on Sunday, because it might do well on Saturday. Might go 7 to 8 million, and it might actually overperform 10 million. Like they were expected to, and might still end up grossing 16 to 17 million, and might even steal the number 1 spot from In the Heights, which only grows 5 million. So In the Heights, I think it's because of a lack of interest. Just people just do not care. It's just another musical. Okay, yeah, they have it here. In the Heights, 4 million, no 5 million. Peter Rabbit, 4 million. But yeah, they're expecting Peter Rabbit to do worse than A Quiet Place. That's just completely stupid, okay? That's just completely stupid. Quiet Place are expected to gross 12 million, but Peter Rabbit only 10 million. Like, really? 10 million? I think Peter Rabbit will gross like 13 million, 13 to 14 million. Where I did expect that at like the low end, the high end I was saying around 25 million. So, yeah, Conjuring is again not doing too well. It's doing worse than Quiet Place now. I didn't expect that movie to have good wigs. Conjuring movies that are not really known for wigs. But yeah, Quiet Place passed $100 million, which is very good for that movie. Spirit is still continuing to bomb and flop. And Cruella is not doing too well either. It'll probably only have like $6 million. And next week there is only like one movie release, so that's gonna be a big problem for the box office as a whole. So, but again, Fast 9 is coming a week afterwards. I think there's another movie coming out next week as well, but I don't remember what it's called. Called outside of like limited releases that like two people are gonna watch anyways. Indie movies that we don't really see much praise for indie movies as much as indie games. Okay. Outside of Oscar buzz. But yeah, In the Heights and Peter Rabbit. Yeah, Hitman's Wife Bodyguard is the only wide release of next weekend. And then it's Fast 9, and then of course it's Boss Baby. I think these movies are gonna probably do pretty well. I think that's when you can start to see the actual box office openings. But yeah, In the Heights is not really doing too well. I actually was not really expecting this movie to do well, but obviously somebody saw this movie, saw something in this movie. So yeah, In the Heights might be an actual box office failure. I think it's because people just think it's just another woke movie pandering towards diversity. Saying, oh my god, you know what? This movie's so amazing because it's about a certain demographic, and the critics will give it a 10 out of 10. I think people are seeing through that stuff now. Basically, after, the 2019, of all the woke movies releasing. But again, I think word of mouth I think this movie's gonna have the word of mouth. It might actually perform like, Greatest Showman. And it might open to like $15 million, as I think it's probably gonna do. And Peter Rabbit could probably gross around. Peter Rabbit might take the number one spot, because wouldn't be surprised if it does, basically. Because if you look at the box office, this yeah, In the Heights has been out for 2 days. Peter Rabbit has been out for 1 day. So, and of course that's including Thursday previews. I think it is including Thursday previews. So it'll probably only goes like 6 million. So yeah, I think 13 to 14 million is likely. I don't know where they got the high end of 20 million. I always thought this movie would gross in the mid teens, or 15 to 20 million, which is it's grossing to 15 to 20 million. I never really thought Peter Rabbit would still make back its money, though, because Peter Rabbit already made like 45 million domestically. It might have good legs, considering there's no movies coming out next week besides Hitman's Wife Bodyguard and Fast 9, which again is gonna be pretty good for the older movies that are already out, because there's not gonna be there's not gonna be like a massive load of movies coming out. So yeah, In the Heights might actually have pretty good legs at the box office, like Crazy Rich Asians did. But Crazy Rich Asians did launch in August when there were no other movies coming out. In the Heights is already competing with Peter Rabbit right out the gate. Quiet Place Part 2, which has been out for 3 weeks. Cruella, which has been out for like 3 weeks already. Cruella, I think, is probably a flop if the budget is too... We don't know the budget for the movie. We don't know the budget for Cruella, so we can't really tell you guys if it's a flop or not, because Disney's not going to tell you. But yep, there we go about the box office. Now I gotta go do other things. Goodbye.